Peter Thiel is an entrepreneur and investor. He co-founded PayPal and Palantir. He also made the first outside investment in Facebook and was an early investor in companies like SpaceX and LinkedIn. And now has written a book, 0 to 1, Notes on Startups, or How to Build the Future, with the goal of helping us see beyond the tracks laid down to the broader future that there is to create. 0 to 1 is an exercise in thinking about questioning and rethinking received wisdom to create the future. And thinking about thinking is what we're all about. Here are 8 lessons I took away from the book. 1. Each moment happens once. Like Heraclitus, who said that you can only step into the same river once, Thiel believes that each moment in business happens only once. The next Bill Gates will not build an operating system. The next Larry Page or Sergey Brin won't make a search engine. And the next Mark Zuckerberg won't create a social network. If you are copying these guys, you aren't learning from them. Of course, it's easier to copy a model than to make something new. Doing what we already know how to do takes the world from 1 to n, adding more of something familiar. But every time we create something new, we go from 0 to 1. The act of creation is singular, as is the moment of creation, and the result is something fresh and strange. 2. There is no formula. The paradox of teaching entrepreneurship is that such a formula, for innovation, cannot exist, because every innovation is new and unique. No authority can prescribe in concrete terms how to be more innovative. Indeed, the single most powerful pattern I have noticed is that successful people find value in unexpected places, and they do this by thinking about business from first principles instead of formulas. 3. The best interview question. Whenever I interview someone for a job, I like to ask this question: what important truth do very few people agree with you on? This is a question that sounds easy because it's straightforward. Actually, it's very hard to answer. It's intellectually difficult because the knowledge that everyone is taught in school is by definition agreed upon. And it's psychologically difficult because anyone trying to answer must say something she knows to be unpopular. Brilliant thinking is rare, but courage is in even shorter supply than genius. Most commonly, I hear answers like the following. Our educational system is broken and urgently needs to be fixed. America is exceptional. There is no God. These are bad answers. The first and the second statements might be true, but many people already agree with them. The third statement simply takes one side in a familiar debate. A good answer takes the following form: most people believe in X, but the truth is the opposite of X. What does this have to do with the future? In the most minimal sense, the future is simply the set of all moments yet to come. But what makes the future distinctive and important isn't that it hasn't happened yet, but rather that it will be a time when the world looks different from today. Most answers to the contrarian questions are different ways of seeing the present. Good answers are as close as we can come to looking into the future. 4. A company's most important strength. Properly defined, a startup is the largest group of people you can convince of a plan to build a different future. A new company's most important strength is new thinking. Even more important than nimbleness, small size affords space to think. Madness is rare in individuals, but in groups, parties, nations, and ages it is the rule. 5. The contrarian question. The question, what important truth do very few people agree with you on, is hard to answer at first. It's better to start with, what does everybody agree on? If you can identify a delusional popular belief, you can find what lies hidden behind it, the contrarian truth. The internet bubble of the 90s was the biggest of the last 2 decades, and the lessons learned afterward define and distort almost all thinking about technology today. The first step to thinking clearly is to question what we think we know about the past. Here is an example Thiel gives to help illuminate this idea. The entrepreneurs who stuck with Silicon Valley learned 4 big lessons from the dot-com crash that still guide business thinking today. 1. It is better to risk boldness than triviality. 2. A bad plan is better than no plan. 3. Competitive markets destroy profits. 4. Sales matters just as much as product. To build the future, we need to challenge the dogmas that shape our view of the past. 6. Progress comes from monopoly, not competition. The problem with a competitive business goes beyond lack of profits. Imagine you're running one of those restaurants in Mountain View. You're not that different from dozens of your competitors, so you've got to fight hard to survive. If you offer affordable food with low margins, you can probably pay employees only minimum wage. And you will need to squeeze out every efficiency. That is why small restaurants put grandma to work at the register and make the kids wash dishes in the back. 7. Last can be first. You've probably heard about first mover advantage. If you're the first entrant into a market, you can capture significant market share while competitors scramble to get started. That can work, but moving first is a tactic, not a goal. What really matters is generating cash flows in the future, so being the first mover doesn't do you any good if someone else comes along and unseats you. It's much better to be the last mover, that is, to make the last great development in a specific market and enjoy years or even decades of monopoly profits. Chess grandmaster Jose Raul Capablanca put it well: to succeed, you must study the endgame before everything else. 0 to 1 is full of counterintuitive insights that will help your thinking and ignite possibility.